I spend $500 a month on a repricer to run my Amazon FBA business, and in this video, I am going to explain to you how I can justify that with cold, hard data and numbers. See, recently I did a video about my fixed monthly expenses, and that came out to $630 a month, whether I have one sale or a million. And of that $630, $500 went to a repricer, which got me thinking I should probably explain why I value this so much. So in this video, I'm going to go over what a repricer is really quickly. I'm going to explain what I used and why I switched and what I'm using now. And lastly, we're going to dive into those numbers so I can explain to you why it makes sense to me and hopefully it could help make sense to you. First up, real quick overview of a repricer if you're not familiar. Basically, there's a bunch out there. It's a software or tool that ties into your inventory on Amazon. In a nutshell, you set a minimum price and a maximum price, and it will move your list price on your behalf to give you a better chance of winning the buy box, which will give you a better chance of getting sales. There's a lot more nuances, but just know that most Amazon sellers, especially that are doing any type of volume, are not only using a repricer, but have been using a pricer from a very early stage. So what was I using and why did I switch? So about a month into my journey, I started using Aura, A-U-R-A, and I think it was about $100 a month. It was a great repricer for starting. It got the job done, and right away when I started using it, I saw my sales start to increase like drastically, right? So it got the job done. It was a rule-based repricer, meaning that if this happens, then I want you to do this with my pricing. And so it was kind of labor intensive, not like tremendously, but I had to go in there and spend more time than I would have liked, but it got the job done. Then I switched to SellerSnap about a year into my journey, okay? And I came across SellerSnap because I was part of like a Facebook mastermind group or just a group in general. And basically people that I respected, that did right by me, that were in a position where I wanted to go with my business, said, hey, once you do $20,000 a month in sales, you should really consider SellerSnap. And sometimes you just have to lean on these people, knowing that if it doesn't work out, I can always go back. And their explanation was it's AI, it's artificial intelligence, and basically, instead of being rule-based like Aura, it's more computer-generated. AI stuff is above my head. All I know is I respected these people and it made sense. And I will say, I knew it was gonna save time because you just set a minimum and maximum and it does its thing. There was no rule-based in between. Also, it was about $250 a month for the trial period, which was either 3 or 6 months. So to me, it was absolutely worth it. To give you some context, by the way, last month I did $45,000 in sales. So I knew I was going to give this a try at some point. And so I did. By the way, I almost forgot to mention the most important part. The whole thought process of why to go to SellerSnap is basically 3 things. 1, less work on your part, less time, less effort, easier use. 2, increase the amount of sales. And 3, maximize your profit. Sales are great, but not just selling it at a price below what you can actually get for it. And that's kind of where the AI comes in. So that's the thought process of why to go to them to begin with. Now let's finally get into the numbers. And I like these because a lot of things are conceptual. And to be honest, you can't make an exact correlation or causation of, hey, this repricer helped me make this much money. I mean, you can compare it to your previous sales perhaps, but if you're constantly growing your business, it's really hard to give direct credit. So you have to have some type of general idea, ballpark numbers, and that's where this comes into play. So let's go over those. So first off, SellerSnap is $500 a month. Aura is $100 a month. No matter what, I would have to spend $100. I mean, there's ones out there, but for this example, there's ones out there that are cheaper. For this example, we're gonna say no matter what, you'd have to spend $100. So now the difference is $400, right? And so I wanted to give you some very, very modest numbers. Last month, as I mentioned, I did $45,000 in sales, okay? What if SellerSnap helped me get 1% more sales in that month? 1% of $45,000 is $450. and I operate at a 20% profit margin. So 20% of 450 would be $90, okay? So now we've just chipped away that $400 to $310 difference, right? Now also, let's say that of my $8,000 profit last month, because that's what I did in profit, 1% of that was higher because of Seller Snap. Because Seller Snap, being that it's AI, it's not only supposed to get you more sales, but also highest profit possible. Okay, that's the game plan, all right? And so let's just say that 1% of that $8,000, that would be $80 profit. So now that $310 difference comes down to $230 difference, okay? And now let's say my repricing saved me on Seller Snap versus Aura 1 hour a month, okay? And if I work 40 hours a week and I made $8,000 profit, let's call my all-in hour $50 per hour, okay? So that 230 delta now becomes 180, okay? So at this point, I can't give you a clear-cut answer how to make up that difference of the 180 because it's really hard to prove it. But I could say this: if my profit went up to 2% more instead of 1% based on this example with Seller Snap, and my sales went up to 2% increase instead of 1% based on this example, that would basically call it a wash, right? So I would do less work, I would get more sales, higher profit per item, and that $500 versus $100 now becomes a wash. Also, I think it's very realistic that I would save more than 1 hour a month. Again, I want to be ultra conservative with you guys. There's no way of me knowing exactly, but I know this. With Seller Snap, I set a minimum price, I set a maximum price. It is easy as day, okay? I don't even know if that's a saying, but it's really easy. If it's helping me in the slightest increase my sales compared to other repricers, if it's helping me in the slightest increase my profit, if it's helping me in the slightest shave away hours of my time where I could be doing other high value tasks, then to me it's worth it. And even if it cost me, after all of that, I'm still $180, right? Where I can't make up the difference, or at least I can't explain it through numbers. Peace of mind and the time I don't have to worry about my repricer is worth a lot to me, okay? It's hard to put a number on peace of mind and knowing that you have good tools in place working on your behalf. So that's how I justify it. I love Seller Snap. I can't vouch for it enough. I'm not an affiliate. I'm not getting paid or anything. That's what I use. I've contemplated trying other things because I will say it's very enticing to save several $100s a month. But then again, based on what I just explained to you, it kind of pays for itself. At least that's my thought process at this given time. And even if I'm quote unquote losing $180 a month, there's something to be said about a proven track record and comfortability. What if I go to something else and there's lag time in learning, and then the next month I miss out on $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in sales or whatever it is, or a profit margin? Well, that in itself can offset it for a couple months, right? So that's how I justify it. I think it's always important with whatever tool you use, you have to look at the return on investment. That's all it comes down to, in my opinion, and what you value. Time versus efficiency, you know, everyone's different, but that's my explanation, that's my theory, that's my justification, and I hope that help kind of answers questions for anybody on the fence, right? Worst comes to worst, I say give it a try at the discounted start price. I do think you should be around 20,000 in sales, like really doing volume to justify that price. And then if you don't like it, you can always go back, but make sure you are using a repricer. I'm Jonathan, this is Duke Does Amazon. We're on Instagram as well. Questions, comments, topics, put them below. I'll get to all of them. And thanks for being here. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.